And good afternoon. Welcome to We Believe Digital Studios in downtown Jackson, Mississippi, where it's just reached 80 degrees, heading for about 84 degrees. Sizzling in Mississippi after yesterday's elections. A tough time. We'll try to give you the results as best we know them from different sources, including the Associated Press and WAPT, I think are the main ones featured today. And so we'll get started on that at the Hinds County level with the Board of Supervisors. Anthony Smith, District 2, prevailed. Democrat Anthony Smith prevailed over Republican Darrell McWhirter, about 70% to just under 30%. And that's with 100% district reporting. Hinds County Supervisor District 4 race, Wanda Evers, a Democrat, nearly 8,000 votes. She defeated Allison Lauderdale, a Republican, just under 64% to 36%. And Hinds County Board of Supervisors, District 5, Bobby Bobcat McGowan, a Democrat, 72.93%. And he had two different challengers, Jonathan Pound and Chris Woodward. So we know what the Board of Supervisors is going to look like now, starting in January, and all those seats are filled. The district attorney for Hinds County, Jody Owens, a Democrat, got 72.5% of the votes. And Darla Palmer was running against him. She got 27%. So Jody Owens remains in as district attorney. Election commissioners, a full race for District 2, Bobby McClure Graves, Ratanya McGee, Richard Cook, Celestial Gordon Griffin, all competed yesterday. The top vote getter was Bobby McClure Graves, 35.7%. So I'm not sure if that necessitates a runoff or not. I think it might, less than 50%. Hinds County Election Commissioner, District 4 candidate Yvonne Horton, she's the incumbent. She earned 56.23% of the vote up against a guy named Justin Cook, who had just less than 44% of the vote. In the sheriff's race, Tyree Jones, the incumbent, up against Reginald Thompson. Tyree Jones won resoundingly, over 87% to 12.8% for Mr. Thompson. In the State House districts, many were uncontested. And so District 64, that would be... let's see, District 64 would be Shonda Yates, a Republican turned independent. Looks like she has 61.85% of the votes against Emil Wilson, a Republican who had 38% of the vote. District 76, Gregory Holloway, Democrat, independent, 73% of the vote to Republican Ricky Smiley, call it 27% of the vote. Senate District 29, incumbent David Blount, a Democrat, 77.5% of the vote over a Republican named Michael Carson. Transportation Commissioner Willie Simmons, the incumbent Democrat, 54.36%. To Ricky Pennington, a Republican, 45.64%. I think I missed. I missed one there for the folks that are taking. Maybe I picked it up on this other list for the folks that are taking up the District 56 being vacated by the former Speaker Philip Gunn. So the Republican did win that race. Sharon Momin was a Democrat in that race, but it appears that the Republican won. I'm sorry, I don't have the. I think Clay Manzel, I think is the Republican that won Philip Gunn's old seat, District 56. A viewpoint from the election. Many incumbent Democrats were not opposed. And when we move to the Mississippi picture, the broader Mississippi picture, today, another day that no Republican legislators are electing to have any hearings on the TANF scandal. The largest corruption, fraud scandal in the state of Mississippi, and the Republican-controlled legislature elects not to hold any hearings on that. Minimum of $77 million stolen, pilfered, misspent, whichever word you like best, from the poorest, from a fund provided by the federal government to provide a safety net for the poorest citizens in Mississippi and poorest families in Mississippi. And these Republican elected officials and their appointees turned it into their own slush fund. There's legal processes going on, but no Republicans, no people in the majority in our state capital are wanting to have any hearings on that. Can you even imagine? That in and of itself gives you so much insight into how things work here in Mississippi. Not to say that at least some people will not be held accountable. Lots of people have already pleaded guilty, but the people, the people in power now, they don't want to talk about it. They want to keep it hush hush. Let those private attorneys, met things out in the legal world and see what happens. Moving on. Tate Reeves, the incumbent governor, has won re-election over Brandon Presley. These numbers are going to fluctuate slightly, but it looks like about 51.7% for Reeves, just under 47% for Presley, so right around that 5 percentage point mark. Gwendolyn Gray, who had pulled out of the race, garnered 1.4% of the vote. Would not have been enough if all those people voted for Presley, would not have been enough to make up that roughly 5% deficit. Delbert Hosemann, Republican lieutenant governor, wins re-election. He had 61.5% of the vote as compared with the Democrat D. Ryan Grover, who had 38.4% of the vote. Attorney General, Attorney General Lynn Fitch, the incumbent Republican. She won re-election, 58.9%, as compared with the newcomer, Democrat Greta Kemp Martin, who had 41% of the vote. Secretary of State Michael Watson, the incumbent Republican, defeated Ty Pinkins 60% to call it 40%. Agriculture Commissioner Andy Gibson, the incumbent Republican, Mr. Genuine Mississippi himself, defeats Robert Bradford, the Democrat, 58.5% to 41.5%. The state auditor, the man that has an opinion on anything and everything and spends lots of time tweeting and sending things to Instagram, has won re-election. Shadrack White, 59.4% of the vote up against a Democrat named Larry Bradford, who had 40.5% of the vote. Insurance Commissioner, incumbent Republican Mike Cheney, bested the Democrat Bruce Burton 60% to roughly 40%. And the only Democrat winning on, and you really can't call this a statewide because it's just the Central Public Service Commission. So basically all the statewide positions were won by Republicans pretty handily. But the Public Service Commissioner for the Central Mississippi District, DeKeither Stamps, who had left his post in the Mississippi legislature to run for this office, DeKeither Stamps, with about 95% of precincts reporting, close race, but it appears to go to him 50.26% to the Republican Brent Bailey 49.7%. So really, really close. And that was updated about an hour and a half ago with 95% reporting. So we'll see if that holds for DeKeither Stamps, who's been a guest on this We Believe digital platform many, many times. So we're coming up on our break point now, and but I'll just say, kind of going out, there's an awful lot of talk about running out of ballots in Hinds County. Without question, the highest number of Democrats in any county in Mississippi, here in the capital, the county that encompasses the capital, and up to at least 9 different voting polling places ran out of ballots. So now you got people being asked to stand extra in line to wait for them to go get the ballots. And it's a really sad commentary. Hate to tell you about it. Hate that it happened, because all it takes is running to a copy machine with some legal size paper and printing the ballots. It shouldn't take that long. The folks, the election commissioners, should have been prepared ahead of time for that, especially when we had increasing Democrat numbers in the August primaries. But even still, based on the math that I've done looking at the various numbers, if 100% of Hinds County had voted for Brandon Presley and all of Gwendolyn Gray's votes went to Brandon Presley, he still would have been what appears to be about 250,000 votes short. So just food for thought on that, and hopefully we can learn from this so that never happens again. One polling person showing up at the polls with 20 ballots. You know, they were out at 11 o'clock in the morning. So, so we'll dip out now for a couple of commercials, then we'll be right back.
Hey, have you heard about the Accountable Card? It's more than a card. It's a complete mobile banking service that's accountable to all of us. You'll get a no credit check debit card good anywhere Visa is accepted to make purchases, deposits, even get or transfer cash with an FDIC insured bank account managed from our smartphone app. There's even a pre-approved no interest line of credit if you need emergency cash. So why go to the bank when you can have ours in your pocket? Get accountable. Just download our app today.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
And welcome back to We Believe Digital Studios for our twice weekly news break show. So glad that you're joining us. We're going to move away a little bit from Mississippi now and go to the broader national news stories going on. So the story out of Los Angeles caught my eye. Four current or former Los Angeles County Sheriff employees were found dead Monday and Tuesday in deaths that are being investigated as suicides. That's what law enforcement say. And then the deaths, they also a different, I don't know if it's a different source, the deaths are unrelated to one another, what they say. But four of them in a 2-day period, pretty bizarre. So I have to keep an eye on that. We move now to the state of Ohio. You know, you had action yesterday in Ohio, Virginia, Mississippi, and Kentucky. This off-year elections. So get this now. In Ohio, voters passed a ballot initiative that enshrined abortion rights in the state constitution. So here we are 17 months away from the Dobbs decision. So that's a pretty big deal. In Virginia, Democrats won back control of the legislature after Republican Glenn Youngkin campaigned on enacting new abortion restrictions should the GOP win back the state Senate. Well, they didn't. They lost in Virginia. The GOP lost the Senate, and they lost a chance to take the House. So this issue of abortion rights is still, 17 months after Dobbs, and things are still moving on that issue. In Pennsylvania, a Democrat state Supreme Court candidate was able to expand on Biden's margin of victory to win a race in which abortion rights were front and center. So there's 3 different states where abortion rights are still in play, and in some cases being enshrined in constitutions. So clearly the issue remains salient to the electorate, a top-of-mind concern for the 2024 election year. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. In Virginia, Youngkin helped lead efforts for months to flip the state Senate and give Republicans a trifecta, one that would help him enact a sweeping Republican agenda. It did not work. Instead, Republicans didn't just lose the state Senate, they lost control of the House too. And once again, Ohio passage of what they called the Issue 1 ballot measure inserts language in the state constitution guaranteeing every person in Ohio the right to, quote, to one's own reproductive medical treatment, including but not limited to abortion, unquote, and barring the state from, quote, burdening, penalizing, or prohibiting, unquote, those rights. In Kentucky, the incumbent Democratic governor won the race. In Kentucky. So in Ohio, Virginia, and Kentucky, those wearing blue were happy with what went down yesterday. But those wearing blue were not happy in Mississippi, where the incumbent Republican, where do you even start? But he won re-election by what looking like about anywhere from 4.5 to 5.5 points. Amazing thing happened up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania yesterday. Democrat Sherelle Parker, a former member of the Philadelphia City Council, has been elected the city's next mayor. So we have a female mayor for the first time in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And lo and behold, this is a black woman. The first woman to hold the office, and also the first black woman to hold the office. Out in Denver, you know, we told you this horrible story about that funeral home people out there. Oh my gosh. Well, they finally arrested these people. They tracked them down. The owner of Colorado Funeral Home and his wife arrested in Oklahoma, Wagner, Oklahoma. Suspicion of 3 felonies: abuse of a corpse, money laundering and forgery, and sending aggrieved emails. The man involved, John Halford, being held at the Muskogee County, Oklahoma jail, but they couldn't determine if his wife was being held there or not. The Halfords couldn't be reached for comment Wednesday. Neither has listed personal phone number, and the funeral home telephone number no longer work. You know, the Halfords owned Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose, a small town about 100 miles south of Denver. The remains found on October 4th, alerted officials what was going on. These people were promising natural burials for people, taking money to do so, and then not doing what they said they were going to do. Horrible stuff. Land of the free, home of the brave. In Virginia, Virginia delegate Danica Roem, I believe R-O-E-M, has made political history once again after winning a seat in the state Senate on Tuesday. She's the first out transgender person elected to Virginia's upper chamber, and only the second trans person elected to any state senate in the United States, following Delaware's Sarah McBride in 2020. Roem, a Democrat, defeated her Republican opponent, Bill Wolf, by more than 3 percentage points. Wolf, a former Fairfax County police officer, was endorsed by the state's governor, Glenn Youngkin, and the people said, Ms. Roem says, quote, "I'm grateful the people of Virginia's 30th Senate District elected me to continue representing my lifelong home of Western Prince William County and Greater Manassas," she said in a statement shared on social media. Quote, "The voters have shown that they want a leader who will prioritize fixing roads, feeding kids, and protecting our land instead of stigmatizing trans kids or taking away your civil rights." Next story. Exonerated Central Park 5 member Yusuf Salam won a seat Tuesday on the New York City Council, completing a stunning reversal of fortune decades after he was wrongly imprisoned in an infamous rape case, the Central Park 5. You know, that's the one where Mr. Trump, the former president of the United States, Mr. Trump took out a full-page article in the New York Times, you know, saying that those 5 guys should be locked up. And they did lock them up, but they were later exonerated. So how about this? And also the, so they filed suit, you know, against the police department, and they won. They between the 5 of them, they got $41 million. And Mr. Salam says, quote, "For me, this means we can really become our ancestors' wildest dreams." Way to go. So that's it on the national front. And in the very few minutes that we have left, just a little bit on this Israel-Hamas. Israel-Hamas war. You know, 1 month into the war, 1 month and 1 day. And I grabbed a piece from NBC News. It seemed really comprehensive, so let me share it with you. What we know in this section is that Israel says troops are in the heart of Gaza City now as its military steps up its ground offensive on the northern half of the Palestinian enclave. A growing number of Palestinian civilians are fleeing the fighting, abandoning their homes to head south. But even in the zone Israel has said is safer, airstrikes are continuing. hospitals are in crisis, and food, water, and medical aid are in short supply. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has reiterated U.S. opposition to Israel reoccupying the Gaza Strip at the end of its war with Hamas, following Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments that his country will have overall security responsibility for Gaza for an indefinite period after the war ends. As the U.S. seeks to prevent conflict from expanding in the Middle East, it's also grappling with the fallout at home from Congress to college campuses. More than 1.5 million people have been displaced in Gaza, and health officials there say more than 10,500 have been killed. Israel says 1,400 people were killed in the Hamas terror attack on October 7th, and some 239 people still being held hostage. (10,500) Palestinians killed. 10,500. The initial attack killed 1,400 Israelis. And the fighting continues. From Washington, the House voted late yesterday to censure Democrat Representative Rashida Tlaib of Michigan. She is the only Palestinian American in Congress. So she tried to speak out on what she sees going on. She says that Palestinian children and Israeli children look a lot alike. And they censured her last night, an extraordinary rebuke of her rhetoric about the Israeli-Hamas war. The vote was 234 to 188, came after enough Democrats joined with Republicans to censure Tlaib, a punishment one step below expulsion from the House. The three-term Congresswoman has long been a target of criticism for her views on the decades-long conflict in the Middle East. The debate on the censure resolution Tuesday afternoon was emotional and intense. Republican Representative Rich McCormick of Georgia pushed the measure in response to what he called Tlaib's promotion of anti-Semitic rhetoric. He said she has, quote, levied unbelievable falsehoods about our greatest ally, Israel, and the attack on October 7th, unquote. With other Democrats standing by her side, she defended her stance, quote, "We will not be silenced. I will not let you distort my words. It is important to separate people and government. The idea that criticizing the government of Israel is anti-Semitic sets a very dangerous precedent and is being used to silence diverse voices speaking out for human rights across our nation," says Tlaib. So that's it for us today with the Newsbreak Show. We thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here Friday, 12 noon, for another edition of We Believe Digital Newsbreak. Take good care of yourselves out there and take care of one another. See you soon.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.